Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Jackie Bradley, who's the co-founder of Mindshift Financial Coaching. Jackie, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me, Mike.
Hey, you're welcome. So give us a little bit of your background and your entrepreneurial journey, because I always love hearing that, because there's always a time where there tends to be like, I was doing X and then this happened and it made me think I'm going to make a little pivot and launch my thing. So what was that like in your career?
Yeah, great question. It's been like a straight road and a circuitous road too. So I can remember sitting outside my dad's office, and he was an entrepreneur, and just knowing that someday I wanted to run my own business. And in the financial services arena, I started at the wirehouse and felt just a little unsupported in terms of, in our industry, which is financial services, it's very hard to get started as a young entrepreneur. And I made a move to a financial planning organization where I joined a team. And that really was, I would say, one of those turning points in my career. Where we had a senior partner, we had different levels of mentorship, different people on the team focused on different expertise.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really great learning experience. And I ended up, if you look over the 10 years I spent there, coaching 10 of the top sales teams in the organization. That just led me into this unique spot of team coaching for financial advisory teams.
Because you did it yourself, and it was like this, maybe there was even a aha eureka moment, like, ooh, this is working. And let me kind of break it down and figure out why it's working. It's because we can rely on each other. The maybe like the crowdsourcing kind of a concept.
For sure. You didn't need to be the expert in everything. The younger advisors were able to rely on the credibility of those who have done it before. And even within the business, there are some advisors who just love to open business and be the front person. And there are others that really enjoy more of the back office and putting the plans together and servicing clients. So it was really a strategy that allowed people to play to their strengths. I think it's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, it's like the hunter-gatherer. I like to go out and bring in the business. And then other people are like, look, don't put me in front of a room. I can crunch those numbers,
Right.
So then that leads me to think, if that's the case, like in your experience when you were on the team or when you're coaching advisors now, are you advising them to say, okay, here's what your agency looks like now. Maybe you should structure and find that hunter-gatherer and find that person that wants to do the, plan development, and then everyone stay in your lane.
Yeah, great question. So after I kind of found that niche for myself, MetLife was in the career distribution business at the time, and they had hired myself and our agency leader to consult alongside McKinsey & Company to say, okay, what does it mean to be an advisor team? What kind of, to your point, agency culture do you need? Where might this strategy really flourish? And where might some of the agencies need to put some of the baseline work in first before they go in this direction?
Yeah.
And so that really catapulted my learning in that, now I'm not just working with teams where I live here in Pennsylvania, but traveling the country and meeting with hundreds of advisor teams. And so it looked like me working with teams that were already in existence and developing them the next level, like what was their next level of growth. It was meeting with agency leaders to get a sense of, current state. What were their priorities? Did they have some natural team leaders in the organization that they might be able to build around, or could they recruit to the strategy? And then there was, some advisors who just wanted to learn about what this might look like and what were the benefits of moving in this direction. And there's always, you have to look at that cost benefit analysis. So I would spend some time there as well.
It's interesting because you can confirm this or clarify this, but, teaming is a buzzword, and I feel like it might be, the financial services industry might not be as acclimated to that concept as, let's just think of, I've got clients that are real estate or mortgage. And so you've got definitely those delineations. You've got people that are buyer's agents. Then you've got the seller's agents. Then you've got the transaction coordinator. You've got the processors. So that tends to kind of fall into those buckets, but maybe financial services is like, it's me and my partner, and we're just out there rocking and rolling. So I think that when you can bring this concept to light and say, look at how it's working so well in this industry, and then here's Jackie going, and I did this, and here's why it works. It keeps you focused, keeps you in your lane. And it's kind of like the student that's got a C average in English and a B average in math, but they love math. Well, put your energy in the B and get to be like A+. Whereas in the C, it's like you're just never going to, it's not your thing. So figure out if you're the hunter-gatherer salesperson type business development, and if that's your thing, and then you kind of just go, wilting, and you get the pit in your stomach when you think about all the paperwork and all that. Well, then maybe that's an indication that you just need to get out there and be the rainmaker, and then bring someone in or empower someone who can do all of the back end work. And it's kind of like, here's the baton, I'm handing it off. Is that kind of an assessment that rings true with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the analogy to the grades and focusing on the area that you can really move. And I would agree with you, Mike. It is a strategy that I think is probably more well known in maybe other industries. Definitely a buzzword right now, and has been for some time in the financial services industry. And I try to keep it simple. It's really about growing and scaling through human capital or through people, right? And that could look at a lot of different ways depending on, to your point, where is the area that I want to focus on? What gives me the most energy? You could look at staff. We have advisors that work with assistants, client experience managers, power planners, and then, some advisors hire staff, but also look at advisors who can complement them, and or maybe they just need capacity.
Yeah, they want to get their life back.
That's sure. Yeah.
You want to hear something really interesting? Literally 20 minutes ago, I ended a podcast interview with someone that wrote a book, and it was titled, "That's It, I'm Firing Myself," or "That's It, I'm Fired." And basically, it was, here's this guy that runs his business, and he's just wearing all the hats, and you're going to burn the candle at both ends. You're going to be burnt out. So you have to figure out the standard operating procedures, and then you got to bring someone in to handle that. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Call it teaming, call it outsourcing, call it, empowering someone from the inside. And you might find that in your financial services agency, maybe someone goes, "Thank you so much, because I now can do this, and I don't like to do that." And it just that slight shift could really empower people. And then now 1 + 1 = 10.
That's right. I'm laughing because that book, what did he say? Fire myself. I have to fire myself.
Yeah, that's it. I'm fired.
That's it. I'm fired. I was just saying that to an advisor the other day, is monthly or quarterly, you should look at where you're focusing your time and where do you have to fire yourself from.
Wow.
What's not getting done. So spot on. I love the synchronicity.
Yeah, that's so perfect. So once an agency says, okay, we got our advisors, we're kind of having our team meeting here. We're going to start presenting this idea. Where do they start? And definitely this would be where they bring you in and you can come and work with them. But where do you kind of come alongside them and guide them through the process to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes back to the why of both the agency and the advisor. And so, from both of the perspectives, more revenue tends to be a big driver. I want to make more money. So Moss Adams did a study, and this is going back some years now, but if you look at advisors on teams versus those not on teams, those on teams are outperforming them by 72% in revenue.
Wow.
And the most recent statistics that I had gotten under the covers of was a large financial services company in the insurance space. And they were just looking at their populations of those on teams, those not on teams. And those on teams outperformed life insurance sales by 54%, annuity sales by 71%, and wealth management or investment products by 326%.
Wow.
So the numbers support the strategy. I feel like that's an outcome. You really have to have one of these other needs in place too. Like, you really want to spend time in your zone of genius. Everything else is just dragging. And if I spent time on that B+, I could get it up to an A. I want to impact more clients.
And guess what? That C, you might be able to get it up to a C+, but you're going to hate every second of it, and you're still not going to get it up to the A. So, like the person that likes working the back end stuff and the plan development, they could probably go out and meet this person or that person or do some networking, but they're not going to love it. They're not going to be passionate about it, and it's not going to come off as, it's not going to be the best foot forward. And so, yes, you can do it. My wife is the director of music education at our local university, and she one time someone said to her, well, could you teach preschool, in the school that she was in? And she's like, yeah, I could do all kinds of things, but I don't love that. I love working with the college and the older. So I think that's what you got to figure out, your zone of genius. What is that? What is it that you could actually look up and go, oh, it's 2:00. I forgot to eat lunch. I've been just rocking and rolling, and I lost all track of time because I love whatever that is. And if it's one thing or the other, go. And there's not a right or wrong answer. If you're the person that loves doing all the back end paperwork planning, good. If you're the one that likes going out and taking people, to lunch, dinner, golf, and whatever to bring in the business, good. One's not better than the other. You need them both.
That's for sure. And good thing we're not all created equal that way, but it is identifying what that is and then building around it.
So how do you help someone? Like if you go into an agency and say, okay, we're an open book, guide us, Jackie. How do you help them understand, each one of the team members understand where their strengths are, so that it's like, okay, you should be over here, you should be over there?
Yeah, I would say it's a couple of ways I do that. I'll spend time with the agency leader first, understanding the culture. And how much, how many teams do they have today? And we'll look at conference qualifiers as well, or those top money earners in the agency, to look at can we build around them if there's really not a culture in place.
Yeah.
When I'm meeting with the teams or the team leaders, I've been in the business 20 plus years. So first I know the questions to ask. And what could you do in your business that if you did it 8 hours, you would still come home and be energized?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Kolbe assessment?
Yes. COLBI.
It's COLBE. And it is the only assessment on the market that looks at how we naturally take action.
Oh, nice.
And so I use that often if, through our interviews and things, it's hard to put your finger on it. I use it often around like roles and responsibilities of team members who should be doing what. Because what I have found is similar to an advisor's client, where they come to the advisor and over the course of their life, they've accumulated different investment products or insurance products over the years, and some of it's just not coordinated. Is right, wrong, or indifferent, advisors over the course of their career sometimes just make hires to fill a pain in the moment. And we have, when I enter these teams, people doing multiple things, or everyone's touching the same areas of the business. And so, just by interviewing and using Kolbe and strengths, we can help them, put people in the right roles for the right reasons.
Yeah.
That's really speaking to the strengths of those members.
And I think that there probably has been a time that you've worked with an agency and people have come back to you as you're proceeding through your processes and going, thank you so much. I never even realized this about my own self. But now I'm thriving in this, and because we just shifted a little bit. It's not a demotion. It's not a you're not doing good here. It's, hey, I think you'd be better served here, and you could flourish here doing these things. And then now it's all in how you explain it to them. But have you had a time where people have come back and gone, man alive, I am so energized, and I never knew that was it never hit me.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of one of our clients right now, and it's interesting too, because often the team leaders have been in business for the longer period of time. They have the book of business, but as they grow, they become more disconnected from the staff and the other advisors. And I can remember when we started this process, the leaders saying, everyone's happy, like level 5, everyone's like engaged. And through our process, it was like mea culpa. We had like 2 key people that were getting ready to leave. They were stressed. Their workload was like through the roof. And so I was just talking to those leaders yesterday. I'm helping them through some performance review stuff. And they were just saying it's a world of difference to have their staff, be able to really play in their lane. And we're able to promote one of the ladies on the team into an advisor role, which always makes me happy when we have more women entering our space.
Yeah.
So yes, I have had that. I have also, Mike, believe it or not, I've had people come back and say, you know what, the teaming thing's not for me, or this team's not right for me. And that's okay too. This isn't for everyone. And I think you got to get it, you have to approach it with the right reasons and expectations.
Yes. And that makes me think of, I was, for years, I've helped out with the small business development centers, and they put on these seminars on creating a business plan. And one of my colleagues will teach that class, and it's like an 11-week class. And she said that many times, not every time, but many times someone will come through the class and come up and go, hey, thank you so much for this class. I now have decided that it's very apparent I'm not going to do this business. Because you've taken me through the thought process, and I've understood that this isn't either right for me, or it now is opened up this other. I want to start a business, but I want to start this business, not that business. And I think, like you said, there's nothing at all wrong with going, you know what? We've tried this. We gave it the college try. We didn't do it for 10 seconds. We tried it. We really got focused. What can we do now to adjust? And so now you then roll up your sleeves and go, okay, now let's figure out where to hybrid. I don't know. Maybe that's not even a thing, but what is a hybrid approach? But yeah, don't feel bad just because you don't feel like you fit into the team after you've given it, a really solid attempt. Yeah,
that can be a win too, for sure.
So once you have that foundation in place, I feel like it is a foundation. Like, okay, we got, all the pistons firing in the right direction, or you've sharpened the axe, now you're ready to cut down the tree. What then is the next step to help an advisor scale their agency?
Yeah, absolutely. Processes and systems, I think you had alluded to it earlier, is the standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
Really making sure that anyone can step into the business One of the things that I share with advisors is at the end of our engagement, we want you to feel that the business is not solely dependent on you.
Yes.
And so you can do that by putting the processes and procedures in place, having the cross-training of the roles, talking about transition, succession, contingency planning. If there's an accident or something happens that, God forbid, you can't come into the office. And those are big things, Mike, but let's just even talk about going on vacation and not having to, call in or feel like I've got to have my phone on my hip. The teaming, once a team goes through our process, we talk about self-sufficient, building that self-sufficient team so that you can step away with confidence and that your people, can thrive without you and aren't emailing and calling you all the time. So there's that freedom as well. But I would say if you look at, I do a presentation called The 5 Levers of Scale in a financial advisory practice, and people, getting the most from your people, right? And I think there's a gap that, Mindshift has been able to help advisors there. Time, using it effectively and using the time of your teammates effectively. You have, just looking at limiting client variability. And what I mean by that is I'll work with some teams and every time they meet with a client, they change the process. It's, a different way.
Follow what you already set up. We already worked on this and set it up together. Follow it.
Yes. And so we'll dig into some of those things. Does that give you a sense of some of the work that we do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and it's just endless, but you got to start with the foundations first, because if you start doing the fancy stuff, then you don't have the right foundation, and I think that's something really important that people, they think, ready, fire, fire, fire. What do you got to aim first? Ready, aim, fire. In fact, it should probably be ready, ready, aim, fire. So, I think that really makes a whole lot of sense. Well, Jackie, if someone is listening to this going, you know what, maybe that teaming could help us out, what's the best way that they can reach out and learn more from you and then also connect and see what you can do to help them out?
Yes, absolutely. Mindshift Financial Coaching is the name of my company. And I also have a webinar on our website, the 3 secret shifts that high achieving advisors make to decrease their stress and anxiety. And I guess probably my is it okay to give my email and my cell phone, or is that like?
Yeah, okay. That's awesome. It's all you. If you want to take emails and calls, then sure.
Okay, yeah. If you want to go deeper on the teaming concept, it's Jacqueline, and that's JACLYN at mindshiftfinancialcoaching.com, and I can be reached at 215-806-4044.
Excellent. And I've got your website hot linked for the show notes, so people can just click right to there from there.
Thank you, Mike.
And it's been a real pleasure talking with you. I love your approach to helping agencies grow. Thank you for coming on, Jackie.
Awesome. Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.